Hello again and happy Tuesday. Welcome back to another episode of the Flow with the Grow podcast. I have a super special episode for you today. I, with the permission, of course, with one of my clients, have recorded a check-in call. So every week with my clients, we have a check-in call via Zoom if it works out, or in person or over the phone. And they always have a check-in form to fill out beforehand, so that gives them a chance to reflect on the week, look at what went well, any wins that they had, things that they maybe struggled with, things that didn't work, and give them the chance to think about if there's anything that they want to talk about specifically. Give them the chance to think ahead to the week to see if there's one or two things that they want to implement, change, or focus on as like an intention or like a goal for the next week until we meet again. And like I said, I asked for her permission today because she had texted me and she says, so I got absolutely nothing done this week in regards to physical health goals, but would still love to meet and talk with you about successes from the week, negatives from the week, and how to handle this type of week. So when the spreadsheet looks blank, it's because it's blank. Okay, so the reason I asked was because I've been wanting to have an episode where I'm talking with a client, whether it's a check-in call or working through different things or whatever it is. And I thought this would be a really good chance because she had a week where she felt like she didn't really do anything. She didn't get anything accomplished as far as her goals were, the things that we maybe talked about. And it was just maybe a struggle. And so on this episode, we talk about, I let her share what happened in the week, and we talk through those things. I give her a couple of like ideas, things that she can implement. It also gives her the chance to like talk through some of the things on what she could change for next time. And I think this is important to share because she's not the only one where this happens, where you feel like the week was just kind of went to shit, got super busy unexpectedly, or like whatever it is. And so we talk through some of those things, and we talk through the wins that she did have and the challenges and what she could do differently next time. And so I wanted to share that. I wanted to put that out there. So here we are. By the way, if you're wanting to work one-on-one with me via online, whether it's virtual, like you don't have to be in the same area that I live, we can be really anywhere. And if you would like to connect and learn more about what that looks like, and kind of tell me more about what you're struggling with, what you need help with, then please feel free to reach out to me. You can do so via email at flowwiththegrowpodcast@gmail.com, or find me on social media. Just shoot me a message. Like, we can just talk back and forth. We can have a call, literally anything, like whatever, up for anything. And we can see if we are, or if I am a good fit for you as your coach, your trainer. And speaking of training, I am also now taking one-on-one clients in-home, in person, in the Sioux Falls, South Dakota area. So if you live in Sioux Falls, you have a home gym, maybe you don't have any equipment, that's totally fine, but you're wanting to get started with workouts, then also please reach out to me and we can talk more about what that looks like. But otherwise, enjoy this episode with Jennifer, her realness, her honesty, and taking responsibility for her actions and herself, and then talking through it with me as that accountability and someone to bounce ideas off of. As always, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I love you. And with that, let's jump right into the episode. Okay, sweet. So kind of give me the rundown. What happened? Just kind of go through the week.
So I had work for the hospital. I had sick kiddos.
Yep.
I had my nonprofit golf tournament this week. And so it was just a very, very busy week. And so with that, I didn't make the time to get everything I wanted to get in for myself in. And I really think that was the hardest part, was arguing with myself about where my time needed to be. And unfortunately, none of it came towards me. So that was the hard part of like, I didn't get what I wanted to get in. And I think that's the hardest part of how to deal with that, is how to manage those busy weeks where my brain tells me I don't have the time to make time for myself because I have to dedicate my time to everybody else who needs me.
Okay. So my first question is, did you and this can be like whether you did this last week or even just in general, but do you ever like make a plan, like write it down, you have your calendar, you schedule out stuff, like what does that process look like for you usually?
So I have, and usually I will write like my day down and what times are going to those days. And a lot of times I can pretty easily like, oh, this didn't happen this morning because of X, Y, and Z. I can put it down here. And I was not good at that part this week. That it was kind of like a hectic where if one thing didn't go the way that it was supposed to, I kind of threw my whole day off.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just that extra amount of stress with everything going on this week kind of set my anxiety, I think, in a spiral too, that the one thing went wrong. Oh, so my whole day is wrong now. And so it kind of threw that whole scheduling thought process off. And so I then became too kind of worked up. Maybe I don't know the words for it, but I just didn't then continue to change my schedule to adjust.
You kind of just like, you kind of just like threw in the towel and was like done. Screw it all.
Yep, basically.
Okay. And is this like, does this usually happen? Like if it's a really busy week, you have things planned and then something happens in the morning time and then you say, screw it. Like, does that happen often or was it just was that just kind of last week? It just happened? Yes
and no. I think it depends on what's involved in it. It's a lot easier for me to shut out work and like those things that if something was happen, my world won't end. Like a job is replaceable. Those things are replaceable. This week, it was both of my kids were sick at separate times and they had educational things that needed to be taken care of. And on top of then my job and an organization that I'm very passionate about. And it's because we get to help people. So that part, I don't like if I had to, it'd be my family, them, and then work and trying to prioritize my family and them and still keep my job. I just did not do what I normally would do, where I would say, I don't care. I'm going to take care of my kids. I'm going to take care of me. So is it typical? No. Does it happen? Yep. But more often than not, I can tell myself, well, this doesn't matter. I'm going to take care of me and my family first, and then I'll worry about this. Whereas this week, the importance level of the things that I wanted to take care of this week outweighed my ability to adjust, I think.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So knowing that, like the thought that comes to my mind is that when this happens, when it's like this, is more so about like giving yourself grace about it and just being like, this is an off week. Like you have a lot of shit going on, and maybe it's like you like kind of talk through it with yourself and be like, you know what, it's okay that this week was how it was, and I know, like, reflect on it. Like, I know that I didn't prioritize myself like I wanted to, or I didn't like do the things that I set out to do, but like it's okay. And then you can also ask yourself, is there anything I would have done differently? Or is there anything that one thing that I can choose to change or like implement for when this time happens again? Because eventually I'm sure it will, like, this will happen again at some point. So then it's like thinking through what's like the one thing that you could do differently the next time. So that way it's like, whether it's a mindset piece you tell yourself, like some sort of like affirmation or whatever, or maybe it's, okay, when this happens, I'm going to make sure like 5 minutes give to myself to just like sit and breathe. And that's it. The rest of the time, if I throw in the towel, like, it's okay, but I'm going to at least give like 5 minutes to myself, whether it's every day or maybe just once in the week.
And I think part of it is like one thing I would love to be able to change. And if you said, looking back on it, what would you have done differently? Delegating. I am a horrible delegator. I am horrible about telling people, no, I can't take on this, or please, can you do this part because I'm overwhelmed with X, Y, and Z. Like I had a conversation with somebody this weekend too, that I felt bad that my husband was dealing with my kids on Saturday while I was at this golf tournament, because my oldest was sick. My youngest had an activity to go to. He had some things he needed to get done. And then in the back of my mind, I'm like, that's my day every day. Like, I'm not asked to do those things. I'm just mom, and those are the things that I do. Why am I feeling bad that he's having to do it today? But I felt bad for having to delegate those things to him to deal with because I couldn't. Mm-hmm. Or like my week, my schedule getting off, there were things that people asked, like, hey, what can we do for you? And it's really hard for me to tell you, well, I need this done. And so I would be like, I got it. Don't worry about it. So I could have handed off some things to make that time for myself, but it's so hard for me to give up that control. Let's be real. It's not even the delegating. I just have an issue with giving up control of things. Let's be real. And so that's very hard for me. So if I could do something differently, that would have been the thing I probably would have done differently. But I'm 38 and I no longer know how to learn how to delegate things. Like, that's a big thing in my life that impacts my life in general, not just this week. But if I could do something differently, that probably should have been what I did differently.
Yep. And what would be some of the things you would have delegated, or like for next time when that happens, like what would be the things that you would delegate?
A lot of it would be like, we have a Google Drive that's accessible by everybody on our board, that I could have been like, hey, who's got 10 minutes to do this X, Y, and Z that we needed to get printed. So like thinking of my golfer registration form I needed to get done. Somebody else would have been very capable of printing that out for me and checking that I had all of the names and the phone numbers and addresses right. But instead, I went, no, I'm good. I got this. And spent that time doing that instead of delegating that out when somebody asked, hey, what can I do for you?
Yep. Yeah. And I think it's hard because I'm that same way too. Like, especially when I was more so, I guess, when I was at like Anytime Fitness, and I had a hard time like giving things up, whether it was like a specific training session or like delegating something, because it was like I always want it done my way, or like I would feel bad about it. I would feel guilty about it. I would be like, well, is it okay to put that on someone else, even though it's really not this like huge thing? But like, yeah, I totally get it. Like it's hard to do, especially when you're the one that's just like in control of it all the time anyways. It can be a tough thing to do. So do you think that like the next time this happens, I mean, I think just keeping this in the back of your mind then, and like when it does happen, challenge yourself, like think of it more of like as a challenge. Like, I'm going to challenge myself here to delegate one thing. Like maybe it's just one thing that you do, or maybe you put that to practice now and say, okay, this week I'm going to find something that I can delegate to someone and delegate it to someone.
And I mean, and it was even last night apparent in the fact that, so we took my daughter to the ER. I was supposed to sub today at the school for summer school. I called my boss last night and I was like, hey, I'm taking my little one to the ER. I was trying to take responsibility for me to go and figure out what to do with today's scheduled kiddos. And she's like, I'll figure it out when I get home. And so I messaged her after we got done at the ER and everything. And I was like, I'm going to run to the school really quick. I'm going to get the schedule and I'll figure this out. And she's like, Jen, go take care of your daughter. I will figure it out. And I just finally went, okay, thank you. Like, even that, like, she had to tell me 3 times to be like, no, stop. You go take care of you. I will make sure this is taken care of. But that's just my mind. That guilty, like, here I'm supposed to do this since June. And here I was a month later and I'm like, oh, actually I can't do it now. Sorry. It's just that I feel guilty part. Even to the point where I had a whole text typed to you this morning too, of being like, you know what? It was a crappy week. Let's just call it a wash and we'll meet next Monday. How's that sound? And I went, nope, like I need to talk to her about why it was crappy. Like, here, I need to own up to the fact that I didn't handle it maybe the best way for myself to have been taken care of this week. And what do I need to do differently? So that's where I was like, okay, let's talk about what happened and how we can, like, how I can make this better. Where I was realized I had sent the text message of like, so this week sucked. Yeah. Let's just meet next week and we'll call it a wash and we'll be good to go. And I was like, no, can't do that.
Good. Yeah, honestly, when I got that text, I loved it because I like appreciated how you were honest. Like last week was kind of a shit week, and the check-in form is blank. If you see it blank, it's because it is blank, and that you wanted to like talk through it and to kind of see what you could do differently next time, or at least just like, okay, still get a game plan for this next week coming. Talk about it, get a game. So yeah, I loved it. I super appreciated that, and I think that's like, it's good. Yeah, that's good that you did that. So then, okay, so. What else? Anything else that I saw you did say here that you made it through. So that's good.
Yeah,
that is
made it through. I know I was going to start filling it in while we were talking. And even some wins. What worked is I still didn't like throw my thoughtfulness of what I was eating out the window. Like I still adjusted to things. There were a lot of like crappy meals and quick grabs or completely missed meals. There was a lot of that did happen this week. But when I ate, I wasn't completely oblivious to myself. Like I still made some of those adjustments that I've been starting, and some of those things like replacing different ingredients. There we go. I'm word finding. Replacing the different ingredients that I can. I was still like, I went to work and I had to get food at work at the hospital that day. And, I was like, okay, I'm getting a salad and a chicken breast. Like, I wasn't like, I'm going for the mac and cheese, grilled cheese that they had because that sounded amazing that day. But I'm like, nope, I'll eat. I know how this week is. Then I'm going to eat my salad and my chicken breast and I'm going to be good and I'll be okay. So I was still like thoughtful through the process, even though I wasn't able to dedicate as much as I wanted to it.
Yeah.
Still.
But that's huge though. I think that's still
myself for those things.
Yes, that is taking care of yourself. And that is like saying yes to you and still not throwing in the towel with nutrition like you did with, other things, but you still had that awareness around food. You were still making those conscious decisions and efforts. And I think that's like the one thing too, that you can be like, you know what, that was a huge win. And I did do that for myself.
Right.
So, yes. Okay.
Are you okay, Haley? Okay. Sorry, I heard my little one out. Screaming. I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh, Jesus.
All right. So I felt very good in that when I literally sat down and was thinking about things last night and this morning, I was like, I wasn't completely horrible. I still did think about things when I did it. So
yes, that's huge. Honestly, that's huge. What about like, okay, so other than that, was there anything else that you feel like was like a win in your mind or that you did well with?
Hi. What's up? I see it. That's beautiful. Thank you. Yes, go have one. Wins this week would be honestly one I made through without completely melting down. But two, it would be that I didn't send that message, maybe is the one. Like,
oh yeah,
I wasn't like, let's just be done. I'm like, nope, I need to step up, take responsibility for the fact that this is what it was.
Yeah, and that'll happen. That's okay. That'll happen.
Yep. So I think that one was one that just because normally I feel like I would have been like, so let's just do this and like trying to feel, because I feel guilty of bringing you on today when I had nothing to show for the week. And so that was just kind of my guilty thinking of it. But I was like, nope, I need to just take this responsibility, move forward, and deal with it.
And I think like normalizing that, like that's gonna happen. Like whether someone is working with another trainer or coach or just like in life, like it's gonna happen where we have busier weeks than normal, or we do things that we don't like mean to, or whatever it is, so like normalizing it, and that's okay, and moving forward.
Oh, shut the freezer, please. Yes. Yeah. I'm looking through the touch base points and see what else I could think of this week since I didn't put it in. I think for me, like focus part would be like one or two things to focus on would just be getting back into my schedule and like my routine and having, so like I could tell you even to like, yes, I have my big, wonderful planner And yes, at the bottom of my days, I have in there everything that is important on my calendar needs to get done that day. But then at the bottom, if I know I have free time that day, I do try to write like 9 to 10, clean the kitchen, 10 to 11,
Okay. Yep.
this noon eat, like, so
Mhm.
that I can look at it and go, okay, here's where I'm at. Here's what I need to do. I can move this 9 o'clock thing that I didn't get done down to 6 o'clock down here, and I can do it later. So I do visualize that because I need it. And also setting like timers for myself to be like, okay, now you have to talk, kind of like the 1, 2, 3, like we talked about, like, okay, time to go now. Or was it count down to 5? I can't remember now.
Yes.
Like telling myself, okay, now you have to go do this. Your timer has gone off. You can no longer 5 more minutes, whatever. I'm just going to sit here and do this until I need to go. And I kind of like this morning already got a little upset with myself because I got up a little later in the day, had my breakfast a little later, had coffee, and it was like 11 something. And I'm like, oh, I'll just sit at the table and do some things until noon. And then from noon to 11, noon to 1, I'll do what I need to do before I meet with you. Well, all of a sudden noon came around and I'm like, I'm not quite done with this mindless activity I'm doing right now. So I'm just going to finish it. And then literally before I knew it, it was 12:59. And I'm like, well, I accomplished nothing in that hour. Mm-hmm. I did give myself a little time to just, I was coloring actually is what I was doing. So it was a little me time, but yes, I was like, well, I didn't get the balancing my checkbook I was going to do done or whatever. Now it's shifting those things around. Yep. But that was something that like I told myself I was going to do it, yet I talked myself out of it. Like I was going to get up at noon and go do what I needed to do, but I talked myself out of it. And so those are the things that I really just need to work on that. Go do it. Yeah. You tell yourself you're going to do it, go do it.
Yeah. Yep. Follow the schedule and everything. Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Good. So using that planner, get back into a schedule, into a routine. What about like with workout wise, like scheduling that into your plan and then like doing 2, 3 workouts? What's your goal this week?
3. I only need to be back at 3. 3 was easier for me to get into. The beginning of the week, for whatever reason, is always hard for me to get going, but my goal is to do them Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, so that I can have them done before I have things always come up on the weekends. Mm-hmm. And so to have them done within there, I'm still working on getting my running up. I'd love to run again and just enjoy it. And so I had been doing with my workouts, I had been started the couch to 10K and was on the same 2 weeks of that. And I had done 2 weeks of workouts. And so this last week, it didn't happen, but I want to get that back into it too, to where I'm able to do those a couple of days a week, in addition to that. So good. That's kind of just if I get it in, great. If I don't, I don't. But as long as I get my workouts here done, that's my goal. That's just a little icing on the cake if I can get those in too.
Awesome. And then are you going to shoot for the 5 a.m. wake up time, or are you going to?
I am shooting for it. I have to start. I have to, because I have a month until I go back to work. And so I have to. And now actually everything summer wise is back in our schedule too. We had like 2 weeks off of cheer. We had a week off of tutoring. We had a week off of summer school. And now this week, everything is back again. Mm-hmm. So I have to be moving earlier during the day, every day now again. So I need to be able to do that, because I know once school starts, if I don't set that routine now, it won't happen.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be driving. I have to drive to Volga every morning. I have to drive to Flandreau every morning. And then I won't get home until close to 5, probably every day. So knowing that, I need to have it done, because I will not. I know myself. I will not do it later in the day. So I have to get myself in that routine.
Okay, so 5 a.m. wake up time for that, or getting that done. And then what about like food wise, like nutrition, meal plan wise? I remember we talked about like meal planning, or like just packing the day before if it's a busy day. How are you feeling right now about the week ahead with that?
Pretty good, actually. My husband himself too. So I think you and I have talked about this. My husband has some dietary restrictions and stuff going on right now, and he's trying to be better for himself too. And so like last night we made chicken for dinner, and we made extra chicken for dinner, and we both packed lunches for the days we're working this week so that we can have our lunches set aside and grab them. Versus like he works at 3M. There's like a little gas station-y type place in there where he can go in and I'll look at our bank account and he'll have spent 4 times been in that gas station or that convenience store that day. And he's like, oh, I need to stop doing that. I need to take things with me so that I'm not going and getting them from the convenience store all the time. And so we both have that same thought process. And I think now we're bad at motivating each other, but we're good at supporting each other. So it's like he even said, he's like, I'm making chicken. Do you want me to make more for you? Yep, please do. Because then I can. So recognizing that we need to do those things. So yes, I do have lunch packed already for days that I work this week. So
good. So feeling good about that. Awesome. Yes. Okay. Okay. Is there anything else that you like wanted to talk about or like had specific questions on or go over? Anything else that we haven't talked about yet?
I don't think so.
Okay. I mean, I would just say that if like things get busier or anything like comes up again, just remember your schedule, your planner, and then also remember that like little challenge to yourself of like delegating 1 or 2 things. And I mean, not just this week, but moving forward, obviously.
Yes. No, I've gotten very honest about delegating. Like even in my last work interview, it was like, what do you feel like is one thing that you need to work on about yourself? I'm like, delegating. I'm like, I will drown myself in work instead of asking for help or handing things off just because that's my personality. So it's not just now or this. Yeah, it's something I myself have to work on as a personal thing more than anything. But yeah.
But it's good to like be working on that too. Like when having this accountability, and then like it's because it affects like everything. Like you're working on these health and fitness goals, plus like just doing life, and it gets busy, and then it's like just putting that to practice, and then also the mindset piece of it, talking yourself through that, and it's just like all practice.
Yes. And that's the part I think, like we've talked about before with, I want to continue moving forward is because like I tend to do really well in the summer because I have the time to do well. I have the time that if I don't get it done in the morning, I can do it in the afternoon. And so I always do really well at taking care of myself or, getting healthier, those things from May to August. And then August hits and it's gone. And I can't get that carry over in. And so that's my, we talked about too, my long-term goal is that's kind of my long-term goal. I want to be able to hit that carry over so that when life does get crazy again, it's not this last week all the time.
And that's when like schedule might change and shift a little bit. Like I think people like we get so set in our ways with having a routine, which is great. Most people like routine, but then it's also knowing that it's okay to have that routine change every so often as it needs to, as things change within our lives and like days and stuff. So that'll be a good thing to work on when that time comes.
Yes. But no, I think that's all I got for this week. So it's just now pick myself back up and start going again.
Awesome. Yay. All right. So then for next week, let's see, today's Monday. Yeah. Plan for the same time then next week.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. And always never feel afraid to like shoot me a text or anything. Like if things do get busy or like something happens, you need whatever to vent, to talk, whatever, shoot me a text. If anything comes up, never be afraid to just let me know about it as it happens.
Sounds good. Okay. I'm good. We're good. It looks like I need to write in my planner for this weekend. Next week, I haven't put anything in there. So looking at my phone though, yes, nothing going on Monday. So 1:00 should work.
Okay, perfect. Wait, nope. I gotta reschedule.
Nope, that's okay.
I forgot I have an interview with someone for
I said it out loud. Good deal.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll message you.
Yeah, just let me know. Okay. I was gonna say as of right now, unless I pick up hours at Sanford, I don't have anything going on. So
okay, sweet. Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. Sounds beautiful.
Awesome. Well, have a good rest of your day. We'll talk later.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Flow with the Grow. I'll see you next week for your daily dose of positivity and growth.